To collapse and fall into ruin. This keyword in Mantis boxing is one of my favorite. Striking to vital targets, or soft targets if you will, to weaken or knock out our opponent. Solar plexus, liver, stomach, bladder. These are all targets that you can use a fist for rather than an open hand. And you can do some serious damage. You can see countless fights in boxing, MMA, where people get hit in the bladder, they get hit in the solar plexus, they get hit in the liver, and either they get knocked out or they completely lose their will to fight and they just get sickly. So today, we're going to show you how to use this principle and what targets to focus on. Let's get started. The human skull, it's hard, it's evolved over time to take a lot of abuse and protect the brain that's inside of it. It could take up to 525 pounds of force pressure, almost twice as much as the human hand is capable of producing. So using a fist to hit the skull is not the best strategy, and it's a good way to break our hand. Using this keyword, bung, striking to soft targets instead with fists is a much better strategy, and you can see why it's relevant in this system. There's some vital targets on our body that when we get hit, it can be a knockout blow or at least cause us to crumple or collapse. So one of them, the stomach being right over here, the solar plexus, also known as the central palace sometimes in Chinese martial arts, right at the bottom of the sternum, and then the liver over here. The bladder is another one, right in the midsection down below your belly button. Any of those targets are excellent points to hit. The floating ribs are great as well. They can be broken. So same region, if you're attacking the stomach, the liver, they can be a good target to hit. In a lot of old martial arts, whether it's karate or you see various styles of kung fu, you see a common stance and strike show up. You see this bow stance and you see this punch, this reverse punch. So what's really interesting with this, if you look at the height of your stance, when you drop into that, it lines up perfectly. You don't see people throwing their fist like this when they're doing the forms. Those old forms are showing the attack right to those vital targets using that bung principle. Now, why would we focus so much on that? Why is it a principle and an important principle in a style? If you look at hitting to the head, so let's say I go to punch and he just dips his head. I just hit him in the hardest part of his skull and I could do some serious damage to my hand. If I hit him in the teeth, I can cut my knuckles open. So it's not the best strikes. You have other strikes for that when we're hitting up there. We have open hand strikes that work really well. When we attack the body, you can get a little bit more generous with how much power you put in, and that fist shape works really well for attacking into the midsection. Getting hit with this strike is miserable. So when you use it offensively, you can take your opponent's legs out from under them. They can get weak in the knees. If you don't get the knockout, you can at least make them feel really ill and take their will to fight away. So here's a few examples of how this strike can work. That was to collapse and fall into ruin. I'll leave a link to the other keywords down below. To support our channel, hit that subscribe button and get hooked.